Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, I want to thank Peter Cunningham for 2 reports that shows you the volatility of the world. The Bible talks about nation would rise against nation and kingdom against kingdoms. Before I tell you about real dangers now that are lurking in the China Sea, the South China Sea, let me give you a report, though, some sad news coming out of Russia. There's been a Russian helicopter that has crashed into a lake. I repeat, a Russian helicopter has crashed into a lake. 5 people are dead, 11 people are missing and assumed dead. Russian divers have recovered 5 bodies from the wreckage of a helicopter that crashed into a Russian lake in a remote northwestern tundra, with 18 people, including top regional officials and businessmen, were on board. 2 people were rushed to the hospital with broken legs after the Mi-8 helicopter smashed into Monozero Lake in a remote area on the northwestern Kola Peninsula late Saturday night. 5 people confirmed dead. The remaining 11 missing are considered feared dead. Now, a spokeswoman for the Regional Emergencies Ministry said the divers had found several bodies in the lake but declined to provide further details. The bodies are being raised. Vladimir Markin, spokesman for the Moscow-based investigative committee, told the Russian reporters separately that these 5 bodies so far had been recovered, but officials are refusing to declare the rest of the missing dead. So 18 on a helicopter. It looks as if 16 of them may be dead. 2 that were rescued have broken legs, and we don't know more of their condition. But anyway, some very high-ranking officials and very wealthy businessmen on this helicopter that went down in Russia. Also, though, we have some situations, and we want to pray for their families, of course, and those that are wounded. We have situations developing in the South China Sea, and the risks there and the dangers that are developing there are for real. According to the Defense Department Secretary Dennis Richardson, the head of Australia's Defense Department says that there is a real risk of a conflict in relation to the territorial disputes in the South and East China Sea. Tensions are rising. I've been talking about this now for several months now, that China is flexing their muscles and trying to take the whole sea. And this isn't good. So tensions are rising over the resource-rich waters, with China in dispute with Japan, Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines. The sinking of the Vietnamese fishing boat by a Chinese vessel last week is the latest in a series of territorial confrontations in the South China Sea. I mean, think about it. China just goes and sinks a fishing boat of civilians fishing because they want to claim all the water. They want to claim all the oil. They don't care what Vietnam and the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, they don't care what you think. So the Defense Department Secretary of Australia, Dennis Richardson, has told a Senate he estimates the committee that no nation wants a conflict, but it is possible. Quote, I don't believe that either China, Japan, or the countries of Asia want a conflict. However, there's always a risk of an accident or a miscalculation. It is that concern about miscalculations that could lead to unexpectedly something to happen, of course. Well, asked by the Labor Senator what would happen if an accident or miscalculation happened, Richard replied, we don't want to go there. Are you serious? We're talking Australia now. So who's got some skin in the game, if you will? Who's got something to lose or gain here? Australia could lose out on some resources. Japan could lose out. Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Indonesia. I mean, This is not a good... the situation is not good. China is flexing their muscles. Is anybody going to say anything about it? I doubt it. We can't even get 200 Christian schoolgirls out of the hands of some rogue radical Islamic group called Boko Haram in Nigeria. We sure aren't going to be able to do anything about China confiscating the entire South China Sea. Now, are we? We can't do anything about Russia taking over Crimea and a proxy war being fought there in Ukraine. We can't do anything about Assad and the Muslim Brotherhood's conflict going on in Syria. So what makes you think you're going to do anything about China taking over the... Do you see what's going on? Russia is basically getting in position to take over Europe. First Ukraine, pipelines, strike a deal with China, keep moving out. Meanwhile, China's going to just take over all the oil in the rich China Sea, claim it for their own. I think the New World Order is shaping up, but I think the guys that are wanting to lead this thing is coming out of Russia and China. Sounds a lot like my book, Mark of the Beast, RFID. Came out 2 years ago. That's a Chinese general. Sounds a lot like what's going on in the New World Order. Are you serious? Give your life to Jesus Christ. We're living in the last days. Certainly. We can see wars and rumors of wars. Nations rising against nations. And kingdom against kingdoms. I'll be back. There's more going on right now of grave concern. Seriously, besides what China's doing and what Russia's doing, are you paying attention to what Israel and Iran are about to do? Be right back in just a moment. Are you serious? It's getting worse, folks. It really is getting worse. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Please. We're running out of time, please.